Hello, my name is Josh and welcome back to FPL Graduates. In today's video, I'm going to be going through my Game Week 34 free hit team with the players that I've got currently picked in my 11. So let's take a look and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Okay, so as you can see, Ben is a little bit busy this week to get involved with the free hit draft. He will be in the transfer targets and the team reveals videos though. So yeah, just going through my free hit this week. Ben won't be free hitting, so if you're not on that free hit strategy, make sure you check out the team reveal video on Friday when that will be live. So getting into the free hit. So my strategy was obviously wildcard 31, free hit 34, and then bench boost 37. The free hit this week comes quite nicely after a nice smallish green arrow from about 2.5k up to 1800 in the world. So yeah, a really good start. Hoping this can push us on. I will say, like, a little caveat with this free hit is that if you are free hitting this week and trying to make the most out of the double game week players, you're going to be missing a lot of highly owned assets that people who won't be free hitting who will hold. So the likes of Cole Palmer potentially, obviously Erling Haaland. So that's something to be aware of. Obviously, you'd like to think that some of these assets should outscore the likes of Haaland and Palmer with 2 fixtures, but obviously that's not always the case as we've seen so far this season. So getting into the team, Dean Henderson's in goal. Crystal Palace defensively are a solid team. We saw that at Anfield last weekend. I think they're ranked within the top 8 in terms of defences all season anyway. Dean Henderson averages over 3 saves per game as well, so there's a nice balance there between good clean sheet potential as well as good save potential as well, which is what you need for a goalkeeper to haul. So he's in there. I do not mind the likes of Munoz and Mitchell as well if you want to go in the defence, but for me, with the setup that I've got at the moment, he's in goal. In the defence, we've got the double Arsenal defence of White and Gabriel. This could easily be Saliba and Gabriel come the deadline. Obviously, we've got to wait and see how they play in midweek against Bayern Munich and if they get any injuries there. Wolves away, Chelsea at home. I'm expecting at least a clean sheet out of those two, but we'll obviously wait and see if it does happen. I think having double Arsenal defence is quite important. You could obviously go double attack, but I think the minutes are less secure, as well as Arsenal's defence being absolutely unbelievable so far this season. And then our third and final defender in the starting 11 is Andrew Robertson. I've gone with him over the likes of Trent and Van Dijk. I don't really rate the Trent pick at the moment with how little game time he's had since coming back. Robertson's started and played 90 minutes in the last 2 games. He's shown some decent attacking threat in those games as well. For me, he's just slightly better than Van Dijk. Obviously, he could be prone to rotation as well, but I'll keep an eye on that throughout the week. At the moment, I'm really quite a big fan of Robertson. Worst case scenario, I might move him to Van Dijk for the assurance of minutes. But even then, I'm not too keen on just having Van Dijk. I might even switch around the whole sort of system. Maybe go Alisson and then Mitchell, as I just previously discussed. So, yeah, that's the thoughts on the defence at the moment. I think overall, having 2 Arsenal defenders is sort of like the minimum, and I wouldn't really go against it. I just don't think the attackers in Arsenal's attack are that good to sort of go against their defence. So yeah, so that's my current thought process with the defence. Okay then, so moving on to the midfield, and apologies if you can't really see the fixtures, I'll read them out to you anyway. It's just the double game week fixtures along with a small graphic is not ideal for recording. So we've got the double up of Liverpool. So Mo Salah, he will most definitely have my armband this week. I know Liverpool haven't been great in the last week, but 2 decent away fixtures for Mo Salah. Fulham away, Everton away. I think they'll score goals in both of those games, so he'll be my captain this week. I've also gone with Luis Diaz. I'm not as keen on him as what I probably was before the weekend. Him and Nunez got taken off at 66 minutes for both of them, and I think there will be a minute's risk to both of those assets with Jota back, and as well as Cody Gakpo improving in the last week with the performances of these two not being at their best. So yeah, I definitely would say you could probably go against Luis Diaz or a Darwin Nunez. I don't think you need them in your teams, but he's in my team at this present time. We've got Eberechi Eze from Crystal Palace. I think he's one of the must-own midfielders for this week if you are free hitting. 2 nice fixtures with Newcastle at home as well as West Ham at home. 2 defences that have been renowned for being poor as of this season. I know Newcastle have kept 2 clean sheets in 2 weeks, but you know, they have got a really weak defence, and I think a team like Crystal Palace will benefit from that. Eze obviously potentially on penalties as well, definitely on free kicks and set pieces, so a really nice asset to own this week. The Arsenal attacker that we've gone for is Bukayo Saka, just to cover off the ownership as well. I haven't owned Bukayo Saka since about game week 29, so it'd be nice to have him back. Obviously, he has the penalties as well, which is really key with those two fixtures. Obviously, Wolves away, Chelsea at home. I expect Arsenal to score in both. Bukayo Saka has been playing relatively well. Again, a little bit of a minutes problem with him in terms of sort of managing his injury. It'll be interesting to see how that Bayern Munich game goes and whether, you know, they play 120 minutes in that, because I think that generally could affect the Premier League lineup come this weekend. And then our fifth and final midfielder is a massive differential and someone who I actually think is quite close to being locked in my draft. I really like the data that he's producing. It's Brereton Diaz from Sheffield United. He's averaging like over 0.5 XGI per 90, which is pretty remarkable considering the team that he plays for. To put it in comparison, it's like literally 0.04 less than what Luis Diaz averages. Saka 0.8, so he's not a million miles away off that sort of level in terms of expected goal involvement. He also has massive haul potential, as we saw against Fulham a couple of weeks ago, that 18-point haul. So for me, I really like him. The only caveat with him is that he's not on penalties. I think Ollie McBurney will be on those, who could be a nice asset, but I think there's more risk to rotation with him. I think Brereton Diaz is as nailed as it's probably going to get in terms of this Sheffield United games. And obviously the games themselves, the fixtures themselves, are Burnley at home and Manchester United away. And obviously Manchester United, one of the worst defences in the league at the moment, conceding loads of shots. And obviously Burnley at home, not the best defence either. So I think both of those fixtures, they're the best double game week fixtures of the lot. So attacking them would be nice from my point of view. And I think Brereton Diaz offers that as a really low-owned differential. And even if he scores a goal or gets a assist out of those two fixtures, I'm going to see a massive green arrow just from him, really. So yeah, a really nice differential. Let me know if you think it's a bit outside the box going with him. Obviously, alternative midfield options there would probably be Michael Elise. He's the main one that's sort of come into my consideration. He got 70-ish minutes at the weekend against Liverpool. I think he is a great option. And when he does play, he usually looks really threatening. But for me, I think the minutes issue, especially with the 2 games in a week type thing, I think that could cause a problem. So I've gone with a more nailed, better fixtures player, and we'll just hope that Sheffield United can do an absolute madness next week. And then finally, our 2 forwards as well. We've got Matheus Cunha of Wolves. He came back to start last weekend for Wolves and obviously scored the brace. It's a tough one between him and Mateta for me. I'm just edging it Cunha just because I feel like he's more explosive and more clinical than Mateta. There's a possibility as well that he is on penalties depending on who takes them between him, Hwang and Sarabia. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But Arsenal at home, Bournemouth at home. I could see them scoring in both, don't get me wrong, but obviously that Arsenal game's going to be tough. I'm not expecting too much from him there. You could argue, if you think that it goes down to a single game week fixture for him, which is Bournemouth at home, which isn't the worst fixture in the world, but you could definitely make a case for maybe having an Erling Haaland or a single game week player like Ollie Watkins in here. But for me, I'll always chase the doubles. I think the upside with double game weeks has always been there. Okay, we've missed it a couple of times maybe this season in terms of single game week players outperforming double game week players, but that's always going to happen. You know, a player can always go off any given week. So that's why Cunha's in there. I've got Solanke as well. Obviously, he's going to be massively owned at the moment. I think he's about 70% effectively owned at my rank, which is obviously the top 10k. So yeah, not ideal for me if I was to go without him. You have to make some of those picks sometimes, especially when I'm going without the likes of Erling Haaland, the likes of Cole Palmer, etc. So yeah, I need to cover some of those highly EO players. And obviously, Solanke is a talisman for Bournemouth, scores goals pretty consistently. Obviously Villa away, Wolves away, they're not the worst fixtures in the world, and he is on penalties as well, so he is a good asset going forward into this game week. On the bench we've got Jose Sarr. I think he's a good sort of differential goalkeeper. He does make a lot of saves, so if you're more in the saves camp than the clean sheets camp, I think Jose Sarr is a decent option. Obviously Arsenal at home, you'd expect him to get quite a few saves in that fixture. We've got Mateta, as I mentioned, as well. I think he's a good option. I know Ben does have him in his normal team. So yeah, he's a good option. I think he can be quite wasteful, though, with a lot of his chances. So that's something that does put me off and why I did go with Cunha ahead of him. We've got Ait Nouri on the bench. If Ait Nouri is fit and he will start that game, I would generally consider starting him over a Liverpool defender. I think his attacking threat is unbelievable. The only caveat to that is that obviously Wolves are getting Cunha and Hwang back, so I think the reliance on him going forward is going to be less and less as the weeks go on. So I wouldn't be expecting the returns that we've seen from him in recent weeks, but a decent pick overall. And obviously he's yellow flagged at the moment, so he probably would come out if we know that he's going to be on the bench for the first game, for example. I'd probably just end up starting someone else and bringing them on the bench. And then our final defender is Mikalenko. I know Everton got beat 6-0 against Chelsea on Monday, but generally they are one of the best defences in the league statistically. I think they're ranked within, again, like the top 8 of defences in the Premier League. So yeah, I'm not going to let one game sort of caveat that Forest at home fixture is a really good one for them. And if you want to go differential, I think the Everton assets are one of those ones which you could probably see some good value in. The likes of maybe Decore, who we always see pop up with a goal from time to time. As well. So yeah, so a decent lineup. Let me know your thoughts on this free hit draft. Is there any players that I've missed in particular that you think are a must-have if you're free hitting this week? And do you think the double game weeks are overrated? Do you think the single game week players are going to outscore some of these guys? Let me know in the comments as well. So that wraps up my Game Week 34 free hit draft. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, as I mentioned. I'm looking forward to this game week. Obviously, this is one of those weeks that I really need to see a good green arrow if I want to break into the top 1,000 in the world. So fingers crossed Brereton Diaz hat-trick come this weekend and we'll be swimming. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. We're so close to 3,000 subscribers and would love to get there before the season does end. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. I think 70% of you who consistently watch these videos aren't subscribed, so do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like and comment as well. Any suggestions that you have or any questions you have ahead of the deadline, we'll respond to as many as we can. And yeah, thanks for watching. I've been Josh and I'll see you later. Have a good game week, everyone.
You may rise, but you